Good morning, ATV family. We are back for another episode. And not only are we back for another episode, we are officially debuting our brand new logo for ATD. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning. We are talking all things baseball when it comes to the free agency market. We're going to talk the international free agents, top five that were signed in this last couple of days. We're also going to talk about the free agents, and we got some really, really exciting announcements that Bill and I are so energized to bring your way. Um, we're not going to waste any time. I'm going to start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful morning?
I'm doing great, actually. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube and or in the locker room, you can see I have my Dodgers Hawaiian shirt on. This serves two purposes. One, the Dodgers signed Roki yesterday. That was awesome. Two, it serves as an annoyance to Sam. So it's kind of like double McGummits, double the pleasure, double the fun, right? I mean, it's all good things. So I love it. Let's go.
One of these days, I'm going to get my Giants Hawaiian shirt, and we're going to go Hawaiian shirt for Hawaiian shirt. I'm going to
Yeah.
go full boat. I'm even going to get the hat too that just
Fifth,
complements the shirt so perfectly.
the fifth place Giants.
Let's not talk stats yet. Let's not talk standings yet. Baseball has yet to begin, and we still have stuff we have to talk about before
Let's do
that.
it.
So
Let's do it. Let's
let's
get
get
up.
into it. Let's talk about these signings that happened this week. Before we get into the international pool, we have a whole nother deck for that.
Mhm,
Let's talk about these six free agents that were signed this week.
mhm.
Real quick, you know, we're going to start at the top. We're going to work our way down. Justin Verlander leaving Houston, making a new home for himself on a 1 year prove it contract, going to San Francisco, 15 million a year. Personally, for me, I'm really excited about this. Bill, what are your thoughts on Verlander going to the Giants? Honest
Yeah,
thoughts.
first of all, Justin has nothing to prove. Um, but yeah, going to the Giants, it's a place that he hasn't been. I mean, obviously Detroit, New York, Houston, most of his success happened in Detroit and Houston.
Well,
I
let's just remember he has played in San Francisco. We just beat him in the World Series in San Francisco, and Pablo Sandoval hit 3 home runs off of
hmm, yeah, yeah, let's not forget that. Um, that
him.
one's hard to forget. Um,
He
no,
tried.
I
He said in his press conference he tries to block that memory out.
the man's 38 wins away from 300 wins. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets, I don't know, 12 to 15 wins this season. He's still got a lot of petrol in the tank. It would not surprise me also if he plays another season or two after this to try to get to that milestone. I mean, he's in good
100%.
good shape, good health. So,
100%. Being that San Francisco does is historically known as a pitcher's park. Wind off the bay. Um, Good bats. Patrick Bailey behind the plate. I think for him. I agree with you. I'm even going to expand and say I could almost see him getting 17, depending on how many games he ends up pitching in San Francisco as opposed to away, based off of his scheduling and his rotation slot. Um, but no, I think for him, really, he's expressed he wants to pitch till he's 45. He wants to hit those milestones just to kind of not just to kind of put that extra notch in his belt. And I could see I could see this being a great more young guys up to allow him to help give them some coaching and veteran leadership that
mhm.
I almost feel like they've been missing. Logan Webb is the longest standing pitcher on the Giants organization. Robbie Ray's a little bit up there. Jordan Hicks has been around for a bit. But you got guys like Hayden Birdsong. You got guys like Kyle Harrison that are starting to get those moves, those call ups. And I think Verlander is the veteran presence the Giants have been looking for a couple of years to help some leadership behind Logan. Not saying Logan doesn't do a great job, but look, there aren't many pitchers in the league that have 20 years experience.
No, there's not.
So, moving on from that, Tyro Estrada leaving San Francisco, going over to Colorado on a 1 year contract. I don't see this as being a major thing. I,
Yeah, who
I see
cares?
this as just it's nothing major. Ahmed Rosario to to Washington though, leaving Cincinnati. This was interesting. Um, I didn't get it. I'm still not really understanding it. What are your thoughts on this one?
Rosario's a really, really good player. He flies under the radar. He did play for the Dodgers a couple of seasons ago, and he was very good.
Yeah,
But there's something about him that doesn't I don't know if it's a clubhouse thing. I don't know what it is, but there's something about him that just people are kind of like, eh. So enjoy
yeah.
Washington. You guys will win probably 60 games, which will probably be three more than the Giants, but that's okay.
Oh
Uh,
my God.
the
This is coming from
but
the guy that thinks the Dodgers are about to have a perfect season.
I didn't say perfect season. Did not say
Oh, I'm
perfect season.
sorry. 156 wins and six losses.
Originally, I
Yeah.
said
Okay.
157, but because of what you said, I'm backing it down to 149.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Um, Jesse Winkler re-signing with the Mets on a 1 year deal. I think this worked
I
out
like that.
perfectly for him.
Yeah.
He loves New York. New York loves Jesse. I think this is a perfect signing. Um, Andrew Kettridge going from the Cardinals to the Orioles.
Eh,
It's weird. I
eh,
mean, the Orioles have good pitchers in their farm. So I'm
yeah.
curious as to why they made the $10 million 1 year investment in him.
Because they
Um,
because they need to compensate for losing Corbin Burns.
that's fair. That I can hear you on.
And
And then finally, the biggest free the most lucrative free agent signing I'll say over these last 2 weeks. Jesse Hoffman going from Philly to Toronto.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one?
Uh it's uh it's the 1993 World Series, but no, I don't understand Philadelphia's not wanting to re-sign him, but this is good for Toronto. Toronto's going to go through a
Yeah,
lot of bumps in the road because they're I mean they lost Biggio. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Bichette? Who knows what's going to happen with um, Vlad Guerrero? Toronto's going to go through some bumps in the road, so this might be able to stabilize the horse just for a little bit.
yeah. You know, Toronto was making a immense push for Roki. They wanted to bring Roki in so bad to make him that new
Yeah.
franchise pitcher for the organization. Um, I think now that they lost on Roki, they're kind of in this position of do we keep trying to just build around what we got, or should we just almost clean house and just go and immediately go into a rebuild? So I think I agree with you. I see Vlad on the trade block. I almost see Bo Bichette on the trade block. I see a lot of these guys that have been there for a while that have been staples in the organization leaving, and
Hmm.
the Blue Jays just saying, we're gonna bite the bullet. We're gonna make we're gonna eat it for the next year, couple of years, and we're just gonna really try to rebrand who the Blue Jays are over the next couple of years. Not rebrand, so to speak, but
But
revitalize.
the Blue
So
Jays,
almost.
both the Blue Jays and the Rays are for the most part in a position where it's better luck next year, even before the season starts. That division is Yankees, Red Sox, and somewhat Orioles.
I mean, I would not say somewhat Orioles. I would say it's a three. I would say it's a it's Fluffy from Harry Potter. It's a three-headed dog race. Like I would say those three teams are going to be fighting tooth and nail from game 1 to game 162 for
Just depends on what the Orioles can do as far as pitching is concerned. Losing Corbin Burns is a huge blow.
100%. But again, I think the Orioles have enough in their farm pitching wise to compensate for that they're not tapping into yet. And I think after spring training and maybe the first month or so of the season, they're going to see it. That's just my opinion on
Yeah.
it. What you got?
And people like Andrew Kittredge. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he tossed 70. I just looked it up. He tossed 70 innings last season and had 67 strikeouts. So he's averaging almost a strikeout an inning as a relief pitcher. That's going to help the bullpen. That does not help losing Corbin Burns, but that does help the bullpen.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more with that. Moving on to these international signings that we've been all hearing all about. A lot of trades happened in the last week to free up money for teams that wanted international pool money. Bill's doing his little happy dance because now they have a seven-man rotation for some obscene reason in LA. I don't think I've ever seen a seven-man rotation in baseball, but I guess now we will. Um,
Hold on,
um,
I'm getting a message from the top Fan Rivalry Sports Desk. No, 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 I don't want to be the eighth man in the rotation. Tell Dave Roberts I'll call him back. I've recorded with Sam. Tell him I'll call him back. All right, I got to go back. Sam, that was Dave Roberts. I sent him a voicemail, but they want to know if I want to be the eighth man. So keep going, Sam. What else you got?
no, I mean, I think Roki going to the Dodgers. I mean, as I just said, the Blue Jays were throwing the entire kitchen. They were throwing the entire kitchen at
Yeah,
Roki. Like they were willing to give him whatever. But I think for Roki, he looked at this and said, "Where can I go have as smooth of a transition into MLB as possible?"
right,
And
right.
I think LA works in that. You got Shohei there. You've got a huge Japanese population down in the LA market area. Um, obviously the Dodgers have a proven track record with who is on that team to be, you know, world champions for, coming years. So I think for him, it wasn't as much of the kitchen sink or the kitchen that was being thrown. It was more of the ease and transition
Mhm.
and the best possibility for him to showcase his talent. And
Yeah,
I don't think in Toronto he would have been able to do that. It's not
no,
the level of market he wanted to be involved in.
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, again, you also come in and you're also with Yamamoto. You're also with Shohei, who's arguably the best player on the planet, right? I mean,
Right. So,
and Teoscar Hernandez is there, and he'll teach him some Spanish and English like he did Shohei during spring training last season. So it works out well, right?
yeah, I think Shohei had a little bit easier time learning Spanish and English, being he's been here for a couple of years. Roque is coming directly from Japan to America. I think it might take him a year before he starts picking up English and Spanish. But
Okay.
who
Oh,
knows? Maybe he's a man of many features that we never knew about.
who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? Um, moving on. De Jesus Gonzalez out of the DR, then signed by the Giants. Now, before Roki said that he was going into the international pool, Gonzalez was the number one top 50 international prospect.
Gonzalez is the guy, yeah.
I mean, what do you see in this kid that is going to just like blow people out of the water? Because I've seen his highlights. I mean, kid's a stud.
He is a stud. And um I him going to the Giants is actually a very smart move. He's young. He could be a generational talent for the Giants. I mean, you guys had Brandon Crawford there for 50 years. This guy could
So,
be your shortstop for the next 50.
yeah,
I like this move for the Giants. I really do. Um, it
yeah.
will it will keep them in fifth place, but I mean, I like the move for the Giants.
Always about us being in last, isn't it? With you can't like just put your Dodger feelings aside for like 1 second and like look at the team as a whole and say that
Yeah.
they
This is
could
actually a good move
potentially
for
have
you
a
guys.
chance.
This is actually a really good move for you guys.
Yeah,
So,
I think with Gonzalez, it's gonna benefit us great, especially as the Adamas contract towards the end of the Adamas contract.
mhm.
Um, you know, Adamas is gonna be there for 5 years, but I think having Gonzalez be able to be in the farm system for a bit, get have enough time to really get acclimated to MLB life, um, is going to be a huge benefit.
Well,
Especially with some of the other guys that the Giants have that in the farm system, like Bryce Eldridge, who's the number one or number two uh, minor league first base prospect in the league. I mean, you get those two guys playing lights out together. It's going to be hard to stop those two.
well, and if he can figure out, as you like you said, the MLB lifestyle, right? And if he can do well in the minors, there's nothing that doesn't say that in 2026 he comes up and plays second base and is that dynamic duo with Adames, right? There's nothing that
Yeah,
says that you can't, and then that might help Willie Adames resign, right? Um,
yeah,
Eldridge will, I mean, after the Freddie Freeman contract is over, he'll be a Dodger. So it
yeah.
seems like,
No, Giants have already publicly announced that Bryce Eldridge will not be considered for trade, will not be released, is not on the table in any way, shape, or form. So unless a team like the Dodgers wants to trade half of their infield or half of their team for Bryce Eldridge, he will be the Giants' starting first baseman, if not halfway through this season, starting in 2026.
yeah, yeah.
There's
I like
no question
I like
about that.
Pena. I like
Yep.
Rodriguez. I like all the rest of these guys here and where they went. And I like the fact that Miami's gotten in to the international market a little bit. Miami needs to shift gears and really compete because the last couple of seasons, ever since they had a little bit of, and I don't know if debacle is the right word, but ever since they've had the ownership shakeup that caused Jeter to leave, Miami has just kind of been a different a different beast.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Jeter's leadership got them to the playoffs one season, and then just he didn't like being on the owner side or they didn't like him, whatever it was. But I
Yeah.
like seeing Miami here.
I also think it's good for Miami. I mean, look, in my opinion, Miami has been in a rebuild phase. They've been in a rebuild phase for the last couple of years, but I
Last
agree with
decade,
you. What?
last decade.
Yes, well, yeah, more or less. But I agree with you that especially a team like Miami, who's so close to the DR, to Cuba, has a melting pot of Spanish population just within that region. They should be they should be diving head first into the international prospecting pool.
100%.
Like it's going to help build that crowd up and build that energy back up into the fan base that they haven't seen. And I think it's just because they've gotten a bunch of no names. They haven't done anything. But if you can start bringing in these guys from the more Spanish speaking countries where you have a larger Spanish speaking population, you're going to start seeing more traction. You're going to start seeing more fans coming back to the stadium, which will energize the team more, which will allow for some movement. So while we
Yep.
move on from international free agent signings, we still have some amazing free agents out there. And I don't know about you, I'm pretty shocked by the names still on this list.
Okay. Which one shocked you the most?
Pete Alonso. without any doubt, the fact that this man is still on there is mind blowing. Anthony Santander still on this list with his power, mind blowing. And then I think the last one is Profar. Like the fact that Profar is still available. I mean, I think those three still being available is pretty shocking to me. What about you?
Um, I agree with you. Pete Alonso, to me, the fact that he's still available, and I mean, we heard from the Mets. Yes, we heard from the Mets that they made their final offer to him and that he rejected it. Don't know exactly the breakdown of the final offer yet. I haven't read up on it yet, but that leaves him to go sign other places. There's teams that want a first baseman, but again, the Mets were the perfect solution for him. That one surprises me. Breckman, I think, surprises me because personally, I think Breckman overcooked his grits a bit. I think he should have taken the 154 with the Astros.
Yeah,
That guy is an average. Defensively, he's better than average. Offensively, he's an average third baseman. He's not. His numbers aren't so dynamic that you look at it and say, "I got to have this guy."
yeah.
He's in his 30s. You know, for a guy who historically has a slow start, it's about 150 hits a season. It's not impressive. He had one lights out season 2019, and then we found out what was going on. It was a different story. The other one that surprises me that's on this list is Jack Flaherty.
Yeah.
Good pitcher. Dodgers obviously don't need him. They don't need a starter. So the
The
question's going to
Dodgers
become is,
are if the Dodgers sign another pitcher, I think I will my head is going to explode. I'm sorry. I like stop signing pitchers. You don't need them. You
yeah,
have enough pitchers.
yeah. Jack will probably end up back in Detroit. There's some talk about that. I've talked to a couple of people that are in Detroit. And they hear something along that lines. So you know, we'll see about that. But those are the three that surprised me that are still on the list.
Yeah. So I just did a quick search. So it looks like Pete Alonso it looks like the Mets offered Pete Alonso a 3 year 68 to 70 million dollar contract, but the
Okay.
thing that Pete wanted was the ability to opt out after each of the first two seasons. And the
Why?
Mets weren't having it. The Mets said, "No, we want you here for 3 years and that's just the way it's going to be unless we trade you." And he said, "No, I want to be able to opt out if I have a great season and hit the market again." And
Yeah.
look, he wanted to go the Blake Snell route. Honestly, he wanted to go a route where he had the ability to say, I want to be able to get the long term deal I'm looking for, but I'm willing to give you 3 years, but you need to be willing to give me that ability to get the most value from me
Mhm.
that you're not looking at me as.
Yeah. Yeah. And how old's Pete again?
Pete's not old. Pete Alonso is. Oh, he's 30. So as the first baseman, 30 home run power, and that power hasn't diminished. I think he's proven that his power hasn't diminished over the seasons he's been with the Mets. If anything, it's stayed consistent. He wants to look at he doesn't I think he sees that he's not going to be the long-term first baseman solution at the Mets.
Hmm.
And that's why he wanted to go into a contract where he could say, I'm willing to prove it this year. And if nothing comes to fruition, or if I have a bad season, I'll stay. If I have a great season, I want to be able to go out and find value for myself and
Well,
give you the ability to re sign me for a long term contract.
yeah, if I were the Mets, I would have said, okay, Pete, no problem. Let's give you a 5-year deal and the equivalent of the same kind of cash. Opt out after 3 years, opt out after 4 years. So,
Yeah.
but you're staying for three. You have to show us
Or
loyalty for three.
or a minimum two. At the bare minimum, give the team the option to decline after the second year in the contract, but the player option to opt out after the third year of the contract.
Yeah.
That's where I would have. That's where I think the Mets could have added that increased value, like you said. But, we'll see. I mean, with what's going to happen in Toronto, we could be seeing Pete Alonso in Toronto blue and gray. Who knows?
Who knows?
As free agency comes to an end, we turn our eye to the upcoming spring training season going in starting on Valentine's Day or the day before. Um, Bill, as we kind of get the show wrapped up, what are the things the fans need to be looking at going into this year's spring training? And we'll expand more on this over the next couple of episodes before spring training really kicks it into gear. But what do you
Mhm.
think fans should be keeping their eye on?
I don't know necessarily keeping their eye on anything. More so, I think just having fun. Enjoy spring training. Go out there, get your autographs. Go out there, pay $7 for a ticket. Go pay $40 for a hot dog and a soda. Like, go do the stuff that you don't get the chance to do when you're at a major league ballpark. You're going to be close to the players. The players are going to be walking right by you. Just enjoy spring training and what everything that it has to bring about.
Yeah, Bill and I are very big attendees of spring training. We have attended multiple spring trainings between the both of us. I think probably between the both of us, we've attended almost 20 years worth of spring trainings.
Hmm.
Um, and
Hmm.
in my opinion, spring training is spring break for baseball junkies. It truly is. Bill gets to
Starting at the
wear that
beginning of the year.
Bill gets to wear that shirt every day that he's wearing right now and walk around Glendale, Arizona like a kid in a candy shop. But this is the time of year with spring training where you're going to see young guys fighting for a spot. Maybe not for their top, maybe not for the main club, but fighting from single A to double A, fighting from double A to triple A, you know, just fighting to finding a home.
Right.
Think so, I agree. Take the opportunity. If you're in the areas, go to the games. It's a more intimate setting. It gives you a lot of fun. And look, tickets are relatively inexpensive. The food's expensive, but tickets are relatively inexpensive. Sit on the lawn, go catch a game, go grab a beer after the game, whatever. And it's such a fun time. If you haven't been, I can't tell you, it is one of the greatest experiences in baseball that I am lucky enough to have year over year. And who knows? Bill and I might do a live ATD from spring training this season.
Who
Who
knows?
knows? Who knows?
Who
Woo,
knows?
woo,
It might
woo.
be it might be awesome, right?
It might be great. As we end the show, I always want to make sure our fans know that they need to check out Hop Fan Rivalry on X every Thursday for its sports talk, its fan involved, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bill and Megan getting on there with as many fans as possible, talking all things sports. Doesn't have to just be baseball. It can be football. It can be hockey. It can be lacrosse. It can be badminton for all we care. Just jump on, bring your sports knowledge, bring your excitement about sports, bring it there. We're there to talk about it. As well on Tuesdays until the end of the football season, Bill and Megan are doing a weekly roundup on all things football. As we get, national championship is on Monday. We're going to be talking about that, I'm sure. Um, you know,
Yep. Yep.
divisional round playoffs. It's going to be an awesome experience. Make sure you're checking that out on X. And as well, last night, Bill, what were your thoughts on that card break, my friend?
It was awesome. I love that card break. Last night we had an excellent card break.
Bill has done an amazing job building a fantastic partnership with the Heads Up Sports Cards crew, run by our good friend Mike, who has been doing this for years, super knowledgeable, gets awesome products. The next actual break is going to be on the 31st, but make sure you are checking out Top Fan Rivalry over the next couple of days as they start to drop what boxes we are breaking, on the 31st. It's going to be an awesome time. Mike always gets the best products, and we always find fire in what he brings. So make sure you're checking out that. Bill, you have a major, major announcement for the ATD
We
fans out
do,
there.
and next show we'll talk about the roundup for FanFest. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff. But for those of you watching this on YouTube or on in the locker room, uh, this will be the last Saturday show that we do. Going forward, this will be on Monday. It'll be in the locker room. It'll be on YouTube, but it's also going to be with the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. And so it'll be uh, recorded and put on their radio broadcast network. So there's been a partnership completed with the Bleacher Brothers. This will air, I believe, twice on Mondays, once in the morning, once in prime time. So that's going to be an absolutely fantastic thing. So keep your eyes out for the Monday show on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network, as well as in our locker room and on YouTube. So I'm very excited to announce that. This is going to be great.
Yeah, I can't thank Bill you enough for putting this partnership together with Bleacher Brothers. I can't thank enough the fans that have listened to us for the last 3 years just talk baseball. Bill and I love doing this. We put a lot of time and effort into it. It means a lot that we're able to bring our sports knowledge and excitement to you, and we're excited to expand that outreach to even more fans out there. We will be talking more topics. New we'll have new guests coming on the show. We'll have more guests coming on the show. We're going to have brand new sessions that we're going to be releasing, like Q&As and things like that. So please, please, please bring to us what you want us to talk about. The show is going to expand, and with that expansion, we want more fan involvement. So please bring that insight to us so we can bring what you want to hear to you.
Absolutely.
Um, as always, make sure you're checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcasts, and merch. If you haven't joined the T-shirt club yet, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You are missing out on awesome merch for an amazing price. The exclusive member events that are going to be coming into 2025 are going to be spectacular. I've been given a minute preview, and already in that minute preview, I am so, so excited to see what these exclusive events are going to be. And as Bill just mentioned, we just had Top Fan Rivalry Fan Fest about a week ago. It was an awesome, from all the pictures I saw, because unfortunately I wasn't able to be there. It was an amazing event. Can't wait to be back at Top Fan Rivalry Fan Fest next year because I'm already starting to put the money aside for it. So make sure you're always checking out TopFanRivalry.com to see what we got going on. Bill, as we wrap the show up, as always, any final comments for the fans out there?
One final comment before I say the final word. You ready?
I'm
Sam,
ready.
what did you think of the crew neck?
Uh, the the T-shirt club gift this last month was a amazing college style Top Band Rivalry crew neck. It came out beautiful. The style, the size, the fit. It was unbelievable. And that is why, again, you need to make sure you are joining the T-shirt club because the stuff that Bill sends you will blow your mind. If you're not part of TopFanRivalry.com or have access to the locker room, make sure you use the code ATD to get 10% off. And yeah, it's awesome. So, Bill, give me the final words, my friend. Give them to me.
Go fight, win.
Go fight, win. That's how we end it. We thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, fans, for joining us every Saturday to listen to what we're doing here. We are excited to transition the show to your Monday mornings and Monday evenings to hear what we got to talk about. And we will, as always, see you on the field soon. Have a good weekend.